Welcome to the Fringe Youth Worker Podcast with TJ and Sonny.
Hello and welcome to the Fringe Youth Worker Podcast. My name is TJ McConaughey, and I am joined today by one of my oldest ministry friends out there, my buddy his name is Ben, but he goes by Bubu, which makes him an awesome youth worker. Bubu, how you doing tonight, man?
Oh, man, we are living the dream here in Oregon. Living the dream. It's good to hear you, man. Good to see you.
Yeah, it's good to see you, man. So I'm trying to remember, we met, I think, at like a See You at the Pole event. I think it was like all the way back in 2007?
Maybe I think so, yeah.
Somewhere in there. Is that right? Does it sound... Okay.
Something similar, yeah.
So yeah, because yeah, and we were working in the same kind of community back then, community that you're still in. And can you just explain a little bit, Bubu, about who you are, what you do, both in fringe work and just working with young people in general? Like, who is Bubu?
Bubu, man, there's a lot to this chubby guy here. So, chubby little Mexican guy. Latinos and but yeah, no,
that's right.
I'm gonna be 40 years old this year, which is pretty crazy. My wife keeps reminding me of that. Right. Got two boys, Nehemiah and Cohen. I got a third grader, sixth grader. Been married to my wife for 16 years, going on 17 this April. And man, just been working for the school district for the last 12 years here in Woodburn. Very involved as basically I call it, my official school title is home to school liaison or contact, but it's pretty much like a social worker for the school district. Was involved in youth ministry for 15 years and have kind of just in a different season now, still involved though with my current church, just different volunteer opportunities, but heavily involved in my job, which it's not really a job when you love what you do and you do what you love, it's a passion. Yeah. So I'm privileged to get paid by the government to love on kids and love them in just many ways.
So
man.
What you're saying is you're better paid than every other youth pastor.
I mean, yeah, I guess, yeah. I ain't gonna lie.
Getting those government bennies.
That's right, man.
No, man. Well, that's awesome. Well. So, Bubu, I wanted to have you on the show tonight because when I think about fringe youth worker, when I think about someone who's on the front lines of culture and helping students who are marginalized and helping students who, are just at deficits every time they kind of come to school, I think about you. I think about my friend who, we knew each other because we were in a youth pastor network, but your extent into youth ministry was only half of what you did. You weren't just a youth pastor. You didn't just wait for kids to come to youth group. You were in their school and you were meeting with them and meeting with their families every single day. Yeah. And so when I think about like fringe youth worker, here's a guy who knows both sides of it, which is kind of awesome because our show, Sonny's not on it tonight, but kind of exists in this place where it's a youth pastor having a conversation with kind of a social worker. And you could have this show all by yourself because you were a youth pastor and a social worker. So it kind of is perfect in that way. I love what you do, man. And I think that the discussion we're going to have tonight around these questions and pick or flick and Tales from the Fringe and all that stuff, I think it's going to be a good discussion for fringe youth workers. And I especially want to talk about, the specifics of the town that you work in, which I think are fascinating. I worked also in that town, so I understand them a little bit, but I think you understand them even more to a greater degree than I ever even understood them. So without that, let's get to the show.
Let's do it.
Join the conversation on Facebook and Instagram. And when you subscribe to this podcast, please leave us a 5-star rating. We desperately need your approval.
Question of the week. The question I kind of came up with for you today, Bubu, is this one. How do you balance being a fringe youth worker and being a great dad? You mentioned already on the show you got two sons, one in 3rd grade and one in 6th grade. So what I'm wondering is, how do you balance being a fringe youth worker and being a great dad?
Man, I don't know if balance is, well, we do the best we can, but ultimately it starts off with my better half, honestly. I could not do life without my wife. She's the one who keeps everything going for me. So if I'm, busy with work and working with these Fringe students, she's taking care of the home with the kids. Or if she needs to do something, I balance it out with me. We work together pretty well in the fact that, like, hey, when I need to get things done, she allows me my time and I allow her her time, and I'd be able to try to balance that with my kids. So it's a lot of my working with our the Fringe kids is really I do try to balance that out during my daytime, during my job actually, which is I find unique in the last 2 years. I'm finding myself doing a lot of life coaching with a lot of these Fringe kids, and it's a lot of it really. It's not really about education much anymore. It's about life. So that's really, with my pastoral license, my admin and counselors have allowed me to really just play a different role in the lives of kids. So it's a blessing in disguise. And I actually call it favor. Honestly, it's God's favor that He has allowed me to reach these kids, whether it's and a lot of it's during school time, whether it's middle school or high school kids. So that also goes to my benefit too. During my daytime, I make time to meet with a lot of my Fringe kids. And if there is occasional nights, family time, I make it work. I wait till after my kids are asleep or, depending on the need. But really, I do. And my wife plays a huge part of that, though. So that's the number one thing.
So there's a couple things there that I just heard and I really like. One of them is the fact that you talk about your wife being a big part of your ministry because she handles so much of the home. She captains that home. And I remember my youth pastor when I was growing up, I remember him saying something. I remember we were like in a small group setting and we asked him, we said, what's the most important thing about life? What's that life? We didn't have the word life hack back then, but we just wanted to know, like, what's something, if we do this well, it will help every other part of life. And we expected to get like a really spiritual answer, maybe read your Bible, pray, worship God with your hands in the air, whatever. We expected something like that. And he said, marry well.
Very well.
That's what he said. He said, marry well.
Yep.
And that, back then we weren't even thinking about marriage, not even a little bit thinking about marriage. But man, now that I'm in my mid 30s, I can't think of a better answer.
Right?
I give that answer now.
Yeah.
Like I say, here's an easy life hack. Your life will be so much better if you marry someone who's got your back, who understands your family's mission in life, understands what you're trying to do in life, and wants to take care of the home, wants to take care of you when you go home, and you also want to take care of the home.
Oh, yeah.
And so you're kind of just co-partners in this awesome relationship. And I have that too. I think about my wife and how she just kind of captains so much. And I love that you said that. I love that thing. But the other thing you said was life coaching. I wonder if you could unpack that a little bit more. What does it look like to life coach?
Honestly, a lot of people call it counseling. A lot of people call it mentoring. The reality is it's about life, man. Life has changed from when we were kids or when we were young people, even 5 years ago. To now. So the reality and the stresses that these kids are under, the anxieties, the lack of a father in the home, so much of wanting to be accepted and belonging, the pressures of social media. So it's that whole life aspect that a lot of people don't see. But when you get to know these kids and you're in their, you're in their business, you get to know really the heart of what they really want. And in this day and age, so many people are looking, they don't want to listen. They listen to reply versus listening to understand. And that's a big thing where I have the opportunity to really sit down with these kids and realize that it's not so much about academics. It's really about them as a person, because it all starts in the home. And if their home is dysfunctional, if they don't have a refuge, they need an adult, somebody that wants to take time to talk to them. So that's where the life coaching happens, honestly.
So, question I have for you. So, Bubu, I hear what you're talking about. Coaching these kids and the less than mentality that they have. But one of the things that I wanted to sort of hear, and I heard you talk about, is that, you came from a home where you had a really great father. I've seen that in your social media posts, and I've seen that in, just how close your family is. You guys are a pretty tight-knit bunch. The students that you're working with, I'm guessing with, there a lot of times they don't have fathers in the home. And so I was wondering if you could speak to that fatherless home thing. What do you see in your work about fatherlessness?
Man, in our honestly, in our middle school that I specifically work at, we're about anywhere between 42-44% single parent home, and it's majority of moms that are in the home. So the lack of fathers is huge, and that's kind of the advantage, I think, where I have a lot of respect with the kids, is that they see me as a dad. That authoritative figure, but also can have fun and know that they can come and talk to me about anything. But that's taken, I think, also years of just investing, because, I've had older siblings, that have gone through the schools. And so these younger siblings that are now in middle school, they've got to know me for a while. So the reputation is there. So it's just building that trust and really having a heart to hear these kids. So that, that's kind of really where, for me, seeing and working, I do a lot of home visits with law enforcement also. So that's another side of my job where I get to do, home visits. So I get to see the home life, and I get, needs from parents. So when I hear that, man, and see the brokenness in the kids, and sometimes they don't have to say anything. You can just see it in their eyes and how they carry themselves. And so that's one thing that I love to kind of just say, hey, are you okay? How you doing? And that's kind of opens the door to really, you noticed me, and so they want to talk. And so, a lot of it stems from just a lot of tough things going on at home with, the relationship with mom, that they can't talk to. And a lot of these are guys, gentlemen that are looking for attention and they're not getting it. And so they're trying to fill it with something else. And the reality is that they just need a male figure. And there's not a lot of males at our school either. So, that provides an opportunity to really reach out to these guys. And that's why I got into coaching, honestly. Sports was because it provides another avenue. Now that I'm kind of stepped away from the ministry aspect of church ministry, but not life ministry. So that's where, I got into football and coaching basketball, because it provides these opportunities to mentor and, grow deeper in relationships with these kids, to understand where they're at and to know that somebody believes in them. So.
Yes. So much good stuff there. All of that is just, all that stuff preaches right there. So many good pieces in that moment. And what I love about you, Bubu, is your heart, man, is that you step away from youth ministry, but you don't really. You're going to keep plugging in because this is your passion. And I think about that all the time as a youth worker. There's really hard days. There's days where it's like really, really tough. But I don't think I've ever had a day where I wanted to quit. And that's the difference. There's like somebody, you ever have a day where you just want to give up? No,
exactly.
No, I've had really hard days. I've had horrible days, but I didn't really want to quit. Like even on those days. And that's what I love about you, is that the heart always comes through, is that, if you're not going to be working over here, you're going to be coaching, you're going to be in the homes, you're going to be rocking some other part of this thing. And it's not because you're not busy. You got plenty of things going on. It's because that's your passion. So I love that I love that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, man. That's really what I want. I want Jesus to reflect in all I do, because it's not really about me. It's about him and leading people, pointing to him. So,
So here's a segment of the show we call Tales from the Fringe. And this is just a storytelling segment where you just where we ask our guest to tell a story, to tell us a story of working with a fringe kid, or maybe a time when you were a fringe kid, or, just kind of epitomizes what you do and who you are. And it's, kind of your passion, or it could be funny in that way. So those things.
So many to choose from, but the reality one that sticks out the most, that kind of, honestly, it's a fringe kid that actually continues to give and give and give here. In the way I mean that, because the first fringe kid that I had was he started as a 7th grader, and he has like 4 other younger siblings who are now, I'm still also now mentoring, or been kind of like that father figure. And this young middle school kid just came off the streets, but he was the soccer stud of the town of Woodburn, and he knew it, but he was messed up. He was the best athlete on the field, but off the field, his life was tough. And he came, I got to know him through the schools.
That's a big deal. First of all, the fact that he's a stud of the Woodburn team, because that team has won some championships. Like, that's a big deal right there. Like,
yeah, 7 out of 10.
Elite soccer skills. If you're, yeah,
definitely. And that's where it was like, he knew what he could do, but he knew his life was a mess. And I was able, through the schools, build a relationship with him. And one night he just called me crying, frustrated, not knowing what to do with his life. He's like, I need something, and I have it all in soccer, but that's not enough. And he called me as 11:30 at night after youth group one night, and he's just like, I'm done. I want to die. I don't know what to do. And it's one of those things, youth ministry, that you just kind of like, hey, you got to step up. And went meet him. We went to Sherry's, had a good talk. Got to know his mom, and through that we've been walking through this journey. He just graduated last year with 3 state champions. He was an MVP. He got the Oregon Soccer Player of the Year. And I'm following that with his younger brothers who are in middle school now, and that same is it's just following. So now mom calls me. He came over with his younger brother, came over 2 weeks ago with his girlfriend at 10 at night, crying because of her situation that she was dealing with. And so it was just like they came knocking at my door. And it's just seeing these, it's just flowing, but it's nice to know that they can trust you, and you build this family aspect. And so it's rewarding, draining, but at the same time, like I said, because my wife knows, like, oh, all right, you got to do it. She allows me to do that. And, thing is that they got twin brothers are in 3rd grade. So I'm like, oh man, how long is this going to go? This ball could be rolling for about 6, 7 more years. But at the same time, you have to see him being successful. He's in college. He's playing soccer in college now. And to know he still calls me dad. And he texts me every 3 days, and touching base with his siblings, man. It's just been, it's been tough, but it's been worth it. And when you count it all joy, when you know that you've been able to help this kid when he was down in the dumps to his highest of highs, and he knows where his help comes from, and that's from God. And that's the most amazing thing, that I was able to lead him to Christ through all this. And these fringe kids, man, they're so worth it. You just take the time, a lot of time, in some cases, man.
Yeah, man. I just love every piece of that story. What I love about it is you get to do something that a lot of people who work with fringe kids don't get to do. You get to actually do family ministry from a fringe kid sense. And usually fringe youth workers, in fact, Sonny, the homes are oftentimes so messy and so hard to kind of infiltrate that you end up just kind of, okay, let's just try to fix this kid. And then, maybe when he goes out and has his family, some of those generational problems will start to resolve themselves. But what I'm hearing from you, and this is actually something that's new on this show, which is cool because we had like 50 episodes and we haven't had somebody come on the show and talk about ministering to fringe kids from a family aspect.
Whoa.
And so that story you just told is kind of, I don't know if you know that, but that's incredible. Like the fact that you're able to not just be a spiritual mentor, but be somebody who's an educational mentor and somebody who's an emotional mentor and someone who just shows up in their life, takes them out to Sherry's, and then also knows the family. And so the little brothers and little sisters are coming through and they all have this relationship with you. That's incredible, Bubu. That's just an incredible ministry that you have going on there, and I think that's an anointing right there. So I'm very, very excited. And what an awesome testimony of how good God is. Thank you for telling me that story. Gave me chills when you talked about how he calls you dad.
It's crazy, man.
Good,
there's a
man.
lot more to it, but it's been really impactful for me. It's changed my life too. So
love it, man.
We are still listening to the Fringe Youth Worker Podcast.
All right, so we're gonna go to a segment called Pick or Flick. You're running out of battery, so we might get through it, we might not. But I'm just going to throw out some topics, and you're going to tell me if you pick or flick them. If you pick them, that means you like them. If you flick them, that means you don't. Give me just a little explanation of it, and we'll move to the next one, okay? So this is quick fire here, all right?
All right, we'll see.
First one, pick or flick. Toilet paper hoarding. Toilet paper hoarding.
Toilet hoarding? Is that what you said?
Toilet paper
toilet
hoarding.
paper.
People going out and buy it. Yeah, people are buying up all the toilet
paper. Oh, man. I don't know if I should flick or pick, man. I'll pick this one, man. I'll tell you this. We actually just experienced this. We just came back from Redmond, spending a couple of days with my family and my mother-in-law, and all the stores we went to because we're running low. It was empty. We're having that discussion all weekend, like, why are people hoarding so much toilet paper? And the reality is like, man, my wife knows, like, hey, you need one roll per. Anyways, he's like, we got to cut down. And I'm like, why are so people using so much toilet paper? It is crazy. My mother-in-law actually just purchased like these big, humongous rolls online. And we're gonna get half of them, so I'm excited. But I'm not one of those people that were toilet.
So you're hoarding toilet paper.
I guess I will be when it comes in the mail here. So,
oh my goodness,
actually, my mother-in-law is for me,
man. Oh,
I don't understand it, but
Hey, man,
I do and I
that's
don't,
a good
man.
incentive. There's some life coaching there, man. So you know what? Just because I want to be, I'm gonna flick it. Why the heck this has nothing to do with toilet paper, man? Like the coronavirus isn't going to make you use more toilet paper, but somehow it's just people are just completely hoarding it. So I'm just like, guys,
yes.
I went to Safeway today. I went to a couple different places. We couldn't get any toilet paper. And finally, we had to like go before the church body to get some toilet paper, man. So yeah, I'm flicking that, man. What the heck? Stop taking all the toilet paper,
That's
man.
what I'm saying, man.
There's plenty of it. Come on, man. All right. Here's another one. You ready for the next one? All right. How about we go this? TikTok dances. You're in middle school. You're in the middle school all the time. You got to be seeing this everywhere. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I will. I'll pick it, man. It's something that is a phenomenon. Even the other day, our police officer, he didn't even know what song he was dancing to. I can't remember the title of it, but it was not a good song. But it got the kid. The kid is now TikTok famous. He's got, I don't know, I think 1 million. He's got 1 million. Yeah, exactly. He's got 1 million views, and I informed our SRO. I was like, do you know the song that you're dancing to? It's probably not the best one, but He's doing it for the kids, man. But anything, kids come in like, hey, can I get some hand sanitizer? I'll do a TikTok for you. And so, we'll do that. We'll work with them in the schools to, get. It's crazy, man.
Yeah. I'm with you on this. I pick it. I think, man, it gets the creative outlet out there. There's a lot worse things people could be doing. You can be in the culture without being of the culture kind of idea here. And I saw that video. I thought it was hilarious. And it, it reminded me of everything I loved about Woodburn in that moment. I was like, okay, this is good stuff. And so, I'm also picking it. All right, you ready for one more here?
All right, let's do it.
Okay. All right, the Raiders taking Mariota.
Oh,
Did you hear about this?
I just heard about it. I will pick it. Honestly, I think for me, I'm big, as you know, Duck fan here. I think it's great. He's close to home, so especially right now, nobody wants to fly. Heck, I'll fly or drive to Vegas to go see Mariota. I don't like the colors, but Mariota's a man, and that's right. Go Ducks, baby. The Duck for life, Duck Nation, I think.
So you guys are just listening right now. I'm holding up my Ducks helmet. Even though I'm in Washington right now, which is I live 8 miles from Seattle, which is the hated rival. I'm still flying the Ducks up here, man. And Mariota, man, I don't know if I've gotten that emotionally attached to a player before.
Right.
Mariota was he's just a good kid. He did it all the right way. He brought the Heisman home to a school that never had a Heisman before. Or did they have a Heisman before?
No, he's the first. Yeah.
They didn't have a Heisman. Yeah, he's the first one. And so, I just loved everything about him. And he just had some messed up injuries and a bunch of coaches in Tennessee. So I'm hoping that John Gruden can resurrect Mariota's career. So
what I'm really curious to see is what Sonny's take on, being a Beaver and being a Raiders fan. I'm curious to see what he has to say about that.
I know. Oh, you know what? Because here's the thing is, I'm a Niner fan.
That's right.
And so him going to the Raiders kind of is tough. But I love Mariota so much, it doesn't even matter. I will always root for Mariota on Sunday. And the other thing, it's the AFC. So come on.
Exactly.
They don't play each other enough. And the only time if they got into a Super Bowl, that'd be different. But come on, the Raiders aren't anywhere close to the Super Bowl right now.
Yeah. Hey, they got a new stadium. Something to play for.
Anyway, but Sonny texted me today, and he was pretty excited about it. He was pretty excited that I had to root for his team now. Well, Bubu, it was a great conversation. You are probably almost out of battery, but I'm glad we finally got through it. What a great opportunity to connect. Bubu, you're one of the guys who just inspires me to keep going. I love what you do. I love what you're about. I love seeing your family, and I love seeing you thrive. And I do think God's got a favor on you. So thank you for being who you are, man, and keep working with those Fringe kids because it means the world to not only them, but to other youth workers. So thanks for being a part of this, man.
No, man, I appreciate it. I love what you're doing. Keep killing it, man. I always admire you and continue to cheer you on, man. From Woodburn, Oregon, man. I got your back, and man, it's awesome. So keep killing it up there, and man, proud of you.
This is the Fringe Youth Worker Podcast.
Thank you for listening to the Fringe Youth Worker Podcast.